My name is Jarlath Duffy. I work for myself. I work as a business consultant. I specialize in the area of training, facilitation, coaching, speaking as well, like keynote speaking. Over the next few podcasts, what I propose to do is just to talk on a few topics, on subjects that interest me and hopefully will interest you, and also possibly get some feedback from yourselves and on the topics. You may want to add to them, you may want to challenge them, or you may want to look for more information. Are there maybe some topics that you'd like me to talk about which I haven't included in these podcasts? And these topics will cover areas essentially like leadership, personal development, management, growth, all of that, and all the related things that are involved in those. And just for today, actually, one topic I'm going to say a few words on is something that I'm very much interested in is mindsets and are people's mindsets, and I'm going to look at it from the point of view of breaking the mindsets down into two areas, and that's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And essentially, it's when we look at mindsets, it's what people's beliefs are and attitudes are towards things that needs to be done, towards challenges. Your mindset then will determine if you, for example, if you have a fixed mindset, you'll believe that there are limits. There are limits to everything, limits to talents, limits to efforts that can be put into things, limits to changes. And a lot of times you'll find that a fixed mindset is essentially a mindset that says, this is as far as I can go. This is the limit of my talent. This is the limit of my abilities. So when you're looking at mindsets, so say you're looking at abilities, you're looking at talent, all of that. Whereas when you look at a growth mindset, essentially a starting point is talent. A starting point is people's ability, or is people's abilities, and you lift from that. In other words, you can grow from that. When you look at a fixed mindset, it's this the ceiling essentially is a person's talent and abilities. And a fixed mindset you'll find with people in positions of responsibility. They feel that that's the limit of their skills that got them into that position. In other words, I have skills, and it was these skills that got me into this position. And that's it. I've used those skills to get me in this position. So then they look at sometimes in that position and they say, well, how can I go any further? I've used up my skills and all of that. So sometimes what you'll find with these people is they'll become very devious, manipulative. They'll play a very political power game in order for them to go further up the ladder, because they don't believe that their skills and their talents, that they have any use, that there aren't any left for them to use to get up that political, or to get up the ladder. Whereas when you have a growth mindset, you feel that your talents, they can be grown. There is a lot more to people, and what's required is effort. So what you'll find is people with a growth mindset, when something happens that goes against what they planned, they don't give up, or they don't get frustrated. They might get a little bit annoyed, etc. But what they do is they say, that's a learning. There's learning in this, and they take the learning, and that's another step for them on the journey to where they want to go. So they don't give up. They don't give up, and they don't stop, but they're constantly learning, and they're constantly putting effort and energy into what they're doing. So they're growing. When you've a growth mindset person, a fixed mindset person, you'll find sometimes when they feel threatened because of a setback, a lot of times they'll blame other people for it. They often lie about their achievements, and sometimes they even cheat. And what they're doing, what they're doing is it's all about protecting themselves. And you'll find sometimes they can have a low self-esteem, a low sense of self-worth that goes with it. The growth mindset, a person with a growth mindset can actually help a person with a fixed mindset, because they can give them the confidence and the belief through example and through maybe some coaching to take the courageous step to actually open up their minds, and through good example.
Is there more fixed mindset people? And I know this is a vast generalization, but are overheads and kind of like authoritarian figures, do they tend to be more so fixed mindset people?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would say so. Yes, because a lot of times they're in that position, as I said earlier, because of their skills, etc. And they reckon that they won't get any further unless they start to take more control, and they don't trust their talents to take them any further, or their skills. So it's related to it as well. Is they can often suffer from a fear of failure, so that they feel that they're up there, and that everything, all their decisions is to protect themselves from failing, because if they get things wrong, they'll fall. So therefore, they say, okay, I don't want to fail, so therefore I have to control the people who are under me to make sure that they don't make mistakes, that they don't get things wrong. So they become very controlling, very directing, as opposed to if they have the open mindset and the growth mindset, and which is more positive and more optimistic, accordingly, they will look at things, instead of looking for failure, not to fail, they would look at hoping to succeed. So they would be focusing on success and the growth that comes with that. So they will treat their people accordingly and interact with people accordingly in the more positive, trusting, empowering ways if you're a leader, and in encouraging, engaging ways as well. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. And so one real clear area where that would be evident, right? And it was the first thing I thought of when you were explaining some of the things, because it is what happened when, say, like a person, for example, is being micromanaged. How does the growth mindset person overcome that scenario? Because it's such a tough one.
I think potentially in situations like that, what you have is issues of trust. And go back to the person that has potentially the fixed mindset person there. They don't trust themselves, number one. And as a result, they don't trust you. So therefore, they see you as a threat. So you're a threat to them, because you, as you were saying, you have the knowledge, you have the skills, you have that. And they're coming at it from a different angle. But they possibly see those things in you, those skills and knowledge. And because they don't trust themselves, and because you're forthcoming with what you know, you're a threat. So therefore, what they have to do then, they have to control you, because it has to be their way. Because an important thing a lot of times you find with people like that is they have to be right. They have to be right. So they're very wedded to being right. So you're now that person with the growth mindset. First thing you have to do is build trust. You have to build trust with that person, build a trusting relationship, and to let them know that you're not a threat, that they can trust you. And one of the things you're doing as well is you're helping to build trust inside in themselves. Because one of the things a lot of people possibly don't realize is, that if I have a manager, for example, in that situation, I have a manager or a leader, whatever, they're also a human being like me. And that they have their uncertainties, they have their fears, they have that. And I have to try and connect with them human to human, adult to adult. And to let them know that I'm not a threat, but also to give them recognition, to give them feedback, to thank them. All of those things that help to build trust, to listen to them. And don't, when I put forward something like a suggestion, a way of doing things, because I know this is the way to do it, I don't put it forward in a pushy way. I put it out there, and it's like a buffet. You can take that bit of food if you want to. It's no problem, because there's all these other types of food. So it's not, this is the dinner. You get nothing else. So it's not a threat to them. So what I'm doing is building trust. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and it's like the approach is actually a lot nicer. So the way that you're explaining to me how to get through it is even a lot nicer than how I'm posing the question to you, right? Because I'm kind of, I realized when you were talking, your approach is like it's really empathetic in the sense that you realize that there's actually this problem going on, okay? That, the psychology of that person is that they don't trust you, and you know that you need to build trust. And you can only really build trust through kind of caring, and being positive and understanding their point of view. And then in a sort of a weird way, you're helping them along. But I kind of posed the question to you, like, how does the growth mindset person get over that? Which is all kind of you-centered, isn't it? But your approach, you're helping them and you're helping yourself. And not only that, you're helping everybody because the work is better. Because it's not just you at the end of the day anyway. You're taking direction from this person. You're being managed by this person. So it is a team effort. So your approach is actually really, it's to help the team.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Everybody wins, I suppose. Yeah. And I mean, you put it quite well, actually. Very well, actually. It's not about you exclusively. And if you approach it from an angle that it is about you, well, it's an us and them. And that if you're a confident person, but it's about you, and you approach somebody that's not confident, and you're trying to influence them, it's going to be quite hard, because they're not confident, they're a bit uncertainty, so they're very protective. But so it has to become about them first, and then it can become about you, because you're giving them confidence to say there's no threat here. There's no threat. Everything is safe.
And it kind of makes it makes it a bit of a journey then as well, because if you can recognize, if the person can recognize that right from the get-go or early on in the relationship, be like, this is somebody who has a hard time dealing with these things. I need to work with them. So you might even potentially know that for the first little while that you're working, it might be kind of like a rocky road in terms of the work, and it might suffer because, there's hands in the pot, etc. But then that over the course of time, we'll all get on with this stuff at the end of the day. That the trust will be there, the work will be there, that I'll be doing my job. We'll all be doing our job in unison rather than colliding. So it's a sort of a journey.